G-thoughtz.
Wherefore art thou? Wherefore art thou?
Let's talk about a hypothetical scenario for a moment to see if you're ready for it, just in case it happens. You ready? Well, we're about to find out. Here it goes. Let's say it's December 25th, 2025. Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas to all the Christians and Catholics around the world. The second holiest day of the year. Oh, what's the first? Come on, my Easter Christmas Catholics, you know what the first one is, and it's not the Super Bowl. But let's say you're watching football. Yeah, maybe it's the NFL on Christmas Day. All the kids are playing with the toys that they unwrap that morning. It's a sunny day, cold outside though. It's the Northeast, at least that's where I'm at. And everyone's doing their thing. Everyone's happy, for the most part. Dad should have probably gotten something a little bit different for Mom. Yeah, he tried to hide the lingerie. Kids saw it. Ew. Sorry, Dad. And you're kind of doing your thing. Great day. And then all at once, everyone's cell phones in the house start blaring that ear-piercing sound. The emergency broadcast system. Notification alert. A terrorism threat. Uh-oh. Now what? And you know, in this day and age, everyone's got a cell phone, including the kids. So you're talking about 5 or 6 cell phones going nuts all at once. Your heart sinks to your stomach. Oh my God, it's about to happen. What? What's about to happen? Well, if you've been following the news, escalations, nuclear tensions, everywhere around the world, something Russia, something tests become reality, or at least that's the thought. Your mind is racing. What could this be? Well, hi Google, hi ChatGPT. It would be the biggest event in the history of the internet. Everyone would be flooding to the interwebs to find out what the hell's going on. Because there's nothing going on in the news. They're not talking about it. They don't know what it is. Oh, they're talking about it, but they don't know what it is. Nobody does. Why did the government send out that message? Tell them, Loeb. Uh-oh. Contact. Alien contact. But where? We'll get to that in a second. A terrorism threat. Well, that's how the United States would have to responsibly react to any type of contact. So let's give you some more details. The ship, it's a mothership. Yeah, as big as the island of Manhattan. Hi, 3i Atlas. Poises itself off the coast of Maryland. About 100 miles out. Just floating there. And of course, you've seen the movies where the ship goes over the White House. It's pretty dumb. It's an aggressive act. Aliens are smarter than that. And they're really not here for us anyway. I'll get to that in a second. They're hovering there. And eventually, somehow, a bunch of internet sleuths find a way to get some pictures or some images or something. Something leaks out of this thing floating out in the water. Maybe people on the beach, they go out and take pictures. Who knows? But it's aliens. And that's the hubbub. I'll pause for a second. You might think that sounds ridiculous. You've seen enough movies. You've heard enough speculation that they are already here. Okay. Well, where are they? We'll get to that in a second. So, it's Christmas Day. You shit your pants. You're trying to explain to your kids what's going on. They have no idea. And details are few and far between because the government's not about to broadcast that to the world. But somebody had to push the button. No, not a nuclear button, but the emergency button. Maybe the government didn't even want you to know. Oops. That's a whole other pod. And now you have this thought. do I believe this or not? Or is this a hoax? Because AI is pretty convincing. Those AI videos, very convincing. Uh-oh, not good. And then you start to talk to friends and family. Who knows if the phones will even be working? Let's assume that these aliens are not malevolent, that they're not going to jam comms, so that you're able to talk to people, you're able to text, and whether or not the system can even handle that, who knows? Remember 9/11? That got crazy. Couldn't even call anybody. The systems went down. Well, if you think that they went down for a good reason, to protect us. Maybe the government said to the phone companies, take it down, just in case the bad actors are using the phones to communicate, take it all down. If you don't think that's a possibility, my friends, you haven't been scrolling through TikTok and IG for the last 3 months like I have. It's hard to trust your government. It's hard to trust anything. It's hard to trust the internet. I'll stop again. What do you think about the scenario so far? Is it far-fetched? Or is it just fetched enough? Yeah, I'll put the meme on screen. The fetch one. Let's just say, I've thought about this scenario quite a bit. If you listen to Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, he has a theory, and it's an interesting one. The guy's pretty smart. I heard him on Joe Rogan. He's very intelligent. Joe Rogan. And so is Avi Loeb. And Joe was intelligent enough to just let Avi speak. He barely interrupted him, which I thought was brilliant. Great job, Joe. And Avi just went off on a beautiful dissertation of the reason why we should challenge things around us and try to bring evidence to that, proof to understand those things around us, or those things hurling towards us, just in case it might be the one that would initiate the scenario I just talked about. I'm done with that scenario. Let's hope that it doesn't happen, because everybody wants to see Travis Kelce get his 90th touchdown on Christmas Day with Pat Mahomes throwing to him. I think they're playing on Christmas Day. Whatever. Good luck, kid. It's your last year. You should go out with a bang. Because if aliens showed up, that's the end of the season. Sorry, Taylor. You wouldn't be able to see your man play football again. You wouldn't be able to do much of anything. Everything would be a standstill. I mean, you talk about how scary that would be. Aliens are here. Wow. I never thought it would happen. But what are you going to do? What are you going to think? What's going through your mind right now? Be honest. Have you thought about this scenario? Hey, we talk about doomsday scenario where when I was growing up, we used to laugh. Our teachers were telling us that they'd have to hide under their desks once a day. I'm like, oh, you're playing hide and seek? No, we were protecting ourselves against a nuclear disaster. Even we in 5th grade were like, under wood? What are you talking about? You'd be pulverized. That's a whole other thing. Mr. Weber, great guy. Kind of looked like a JFK's brother. Yeah, I would have voted for Mr. Weber for president. The guy was badass. But even then we knew that wasn't going to work. But what works is mentally preparing, is it not? My friends, that's kind of what that thing did. Getting under the desk was to mentally prepare the kids for eventually, if you do it enough times, they won't totally freak out the first time it happens. Does no one understand that that whole process was a cycle? Even I knew that in 5th grade. And Mr. Weber told us, in his own words, that after a while it just became commonplace. You started to accept it. And that was kind of the point. No different than that bag coming down with oxygen and as the airplane's about to crash. Crash into what? A building? You know, you got to prepare. You got to prepare for all the worst things possible. That's how we're built as humans. Security comes first, then serenity. One can't act without the other. So now you've got aliens on your turf. Instead of us fighting each other, we're going to fight everybody. the aliens if we can, each other because the food supplies are going to run out. Oh yeah, if you're a trucker, you ain't reporting to work. You're scared as fuck. And chances are your company is shut down. Can you imagine the traffic on the roads? Uh-oh, food supplies are running low. People with the guns got the power. And there's boots on the ground. They could walk around the neighborhood and go into house to house to get food. You're like, wait a minute, this sounds more like a nuclear doomsday scenario. It would be no different, would it not? It would be complete collapse of society. You think the United States government is going to be any different than the Congo when something like this happens? Well, unless they have total control over how you receive information, then that could be a different story. Because if you're in the Congo, you probably don't know anything about the aliens. Your government doesn't have any access to the stuff that the United States government has, or at least if they cut it off to the Congo, don't let them, and figure out a way to cut it off to as many other countries as possible. It's a scenario that could happen, folks, especially when all of tech, or most of it's in this country. Maybe part of the United States doomsday scenario for aliens is to, well, do the same thing like the 40s and 50s. I guess it was the 50s. Or, well, the scenarios we do at school now for a shooter. United States government is just trying to condition us so that if that does happen, people will either deny it, think it's a farce, or they'll buy in. They'll buy it. And they'll kind of deal with it. But here's the difference. At least my take on this. Avi Loeb, you could chime in. We haven't come anywhere close to being prepared for an alien contact as we think we have. We haven't done any prep. Sure, you got a bunch of guys like Lou Elizondo and his minions all around him going to every show, kind of telling about aliens coming down. Maybe that's, or aliens here. Maybe that's how the U.S. government wants to condition us so that when it does happen, it'll be less shocking, more commonplace. Finally, the movies had it down. Star Wars is here, yay. Where's Darth Vader? And we might think Darth Vader's on that ship. Something evil. And people are going to freak the fuck out. And that's where the U.S. government has to calm the nerves. They have to kind of back off a little bit and kind of go explore over the waters what this ship is. Something, we move this along. And somehow we come to find out, maybe through telepathy, that they're not here for us. They're here for themselves. The ones they left behind, under the water. And those people, or those beings, sent out a distress signal into the universe because they finally realized that we were finally going to kill each other. We were going to drop a bunch of bombs. And they sent that signal out in 1977, 48 years ago, when they realized when you do the calculations on a long enough timeline, and that timeline is getting shorter, 89 seconds to midnight, that they're not going to be safe anymore. Their doomsday scenario that they envisioned is happening. And they need to take the lead. So they sent out a distress signal and prepped their people living under the oceans and under the ground. This sounds crazy. Play along. Prepare. It's going to happen. Help is coming. Well, my friends, we don't have help coming unless we've already made contact with those aliens and they're helping us out. U.S. government, would you like to chime in? But let's say that's not the case. And these people, these beings, go over the ocean, get their peeps onto the ship, and off they go. Bye. Now what? We had contact. They came here. It wasn't even for us. They left with someone else. I feel like I'm back at the bar. Ladies? I really thought I was going to go home with somebody. Or maybe she... And that's what happens with the aliens. we end up with intergalactic blue balls. We didn't even get a chance to fight them or love them, whatever humans do. The aliens that studied us long enough, they knew. Go in, get them out, kind of like the Marines. Go in, get them out, and leave no trace behind. If they see you, oh well, tough shit. No one's going to believe it anyway. We did it over the water. And we got a couple ins with some of the government people. They'll play along. Kind of like the moon landing. I couldn't even get it out. Yeah, we've been behind the moon for a long, long time. We've been watching these motherfuckers. And we have a little base on the moon. Yeah, it's like our Marine base, the intergalactic Marines. I won't get into how the aliens stayed here and some of them left. Whatever. I'm sure you could figure that out. It's an irrelevant detail to the point that I'm trying to make. Let me end on this. It is possible. Well, I wouldn't go to Vegas and bet on any of the stuff I just talked about. But alien contact is possible. There's something about Fermi's paradox, blah, blah, blah. Look it up. Google's your creepy friend that's always watching. ChatGPT is the creepy friend that knows everything. And once they start speaking, oh boy. But if you listen to Avi Loeb, astrophysicist from Harvard, very, very intelligent guy, he says, let's, kind of takes it to that possibility. And says, well, maybe this 3-eye atlas that's coming hurtling towards the sun, and apparently just made a correction change as of November 1st, 2025. And it's soon, maybe in about a month, it's going to be pretty close to the Earth, around December 19th. And what if it was a mothership? What if it was alien contact? Even if they weren't here for us. Are you ready for that? Because I'm going to do another pod when I talk about, well, if we introduce aliens into the game, think about this. Let's say they were here for us. And you fast forward the timeline, just like the movies, we come to a détente. We understand what they want, they understand what we need, and we can coexist. Are you ready to coexist with another being? If this entire time we haven't been able to coexist with each other, now what? We're going to add another variable to the mix? When does that ever work? Nitro, meet glycerin, boom. If we're not prepared to love someone else for who or what they are, and this is my hippie rant to end this pod, we're just going to look at them as just an integer, an X. And whether or not they're from Africa, Europe, Asia, or from Intergalactica, wherever they're from, or under the water, you're going to still look at them as either a threat or not. And at the end of the day, the value you want to extract from them, the energy you want to receive from them, be it love or whatever, knowledge, information, depends on your curiosity and your willingness to make that connection and break through the walls of danger. So how would we handle alien contact? No different than how we would handle contacting a stranger. Proceed with caution. Lead with empathy. But speak with love. Or feel with love. Something. Well, listen, I've got to go. I don't know if this thought process jogged something in your head, maybe a little memory from when you were a kid and you used to pretend that you were flying through the universe like I did. The aliens were already here and we interacted with them, kind of like Star Wars. I've been pretending that in my mind for years. I'm ready. Are you?